Hey, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Jamal4 here once again. Back again for this bullshit, scary stories nonsense. We just gonna pick it right back up where we left off last time, honey. And, okay. Let go. Before we get started, though, make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. It shows me a lot of support and that you're really loving these horror story animation reactions. And also, if you are a current subscriber, be sure to click that little bell by the subscribe button so that way you get a notification every time I upload something because YouTube is not sending everybody subscriptions the way they're supposed to. So it's just an easier way for you guys to know whenever one of these reactions go up. All right, now we got that all out of the way. Let's just proceed with the bullshit, child, because y'all know it's going to be some. True Craigslist story. All right, let's go. Never trust
This
Craigslist,
story
y'all.
took place a long time ago, back in 2002, when Craigslist was in its early years. Many wouldn't know, but back in those days, Craigslist was a lot different. It was a lot more so an online garage sale, or just a place where people would list old things that still had some value that they were willing to give away. I got a basketball hoop, a hockey net, and a spoiler for my car, all free in perfect condition in that same year. You'd be lucky if you found something like that these days. Anyway, me and my son were dying to buy a hockey net so we could practice in the cul-de-sac we lived in. For the record, this was before I got that free one I mentioned. Wouldn't you know it, on Craigslist there was an ad for a slightly used regulation-size hockey goal for only $50. It came with a puck and 2 slightly used hockey sticks. I still have a picture of that ad to this day. It seemed like the perfect deal, but he lived about 2 hours away. I called the number he had listed, and he sounded pretty normal on the phone. He had a pretty deep, dark voice, but nothing that would be off-putting. I remember his voice being a bit emotionless. He agreed to meet halfway due to the distance, said he'd put the stuff in the back of his pickup truck. He said he could only come after he got off from work though, which was much later in the day, way past dark. We agreed to meet at some rest stop off the highway.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, did you invite this man to your house? Okay, so he was smart and y'all met at a public place. Okay.
Me and my son, who was 11 at the time, took my wife's minivan, the only car that would be able to fit that huge thing. Within an hour, we were at the truck stop, which was empty at this hour, but was decently lit by 3 big light posts. I parked right under one of the lights and waited. A pickup truck pulled in off the highway right on time. He stopped right in front of me. I went over to his window, but then noticed there was nothing in the back of his truck. "You Steve?" he asked me. "Yep, that's me," I said. "Alright, my buddy's bringing in the stuff with his truck." The guy pulled up behind my car and put it in park. I suddenly had a bad feeling. I told my son to get back in the car and lock every door except mine. 2 more pairs of headlights came off the highway into the lots, surely enough pulling up next to me. And, not surprisingly at this point, there was no hockey equipment in either one of them.
See, this is where I get in my car and I like, you know what? Keep it. Just keep it. Because I'm not about to sit here and endanger my child. First, you know what? I guess, like you said, this is early Craigslist years. I would have probably come with some sort of concealed weapon just in case, especially if I'm bringing my child with me. Why did you bring your child in the first place? Did he say that? Like, why? Well, I guess he wanted him to see it and be excited. I, I don't think I would have brought my son out in the rain in the middle of the night. I don't. Mm-mm. But after the first dude was giving some shady shit, I'll be like, you know what? Nah, you keep it.
My heart was racing. I was worried. Not for me, but for my young son who I for some reason brought with me on this trip. A group of large men mixed with heavy-set and muscular physiques stepped out of the 2 pickup trucks behind the first one. They eyed me from head to toe, giving that typical intimidation stare down. Then this bald guy wearing sunglasses said in a deep voice, "Where's the money?" I instantly pulled out my wallet and handed it to him, begging him to just let me and my son go. He pulled out like $100 and was pissed, expecting more. He then sent 2 of his goons or whatever to get my son.
What?
At this point I screamed and begged for him not to take him. One of the men broke the glass to the minivan back door, and I vividly remember the disturbing, heartbreaking screams of my young son. What happened next was what I can only explain to be a miracle from God answering my prayers. A car was entering the lot from off the highway. All the men stopped and turned to look at it. As it got closer, my heart literally dropped in excitement as I saw it was a police car. The lights suddenly began to flash as he got close enough to see what was going on. All of the men were back in their trucks within seconds, speeding off down the highway. Well, at least two of them. The truck in the back was caught immediately by the police car, and backup arrived shortly. I explained everything to them, and they got the men that were caught to rat out on the others surprisingly quickly. I guess luckily the guys in the back truck weren't very loyal to whoever their leader was, if they even had any type of leader. Believe it or not, I had a police escort all the way home to make me and my son feel safer. I don't want to get into all the legal stuff, but I'll just say that all of those men except for one was caught, and I'm pretty sure that was the driver of the first pickup truck. Needless to say, my Craigslist days weren't over at that point, but I have always been much more protective of my son, and much more cautious of Craigslist meetings since then.
I'm sorry. I feel like if I was in that moment where the dude came over and broke my window and was about to attack my son, I don't think I would have cared or given much thought, depending on if this is good or bad. I don't think I would have given much thought as to what would happen to me if I just charged him down and tackled him to the ground to protect my child. I don't think I would have. I think I would just blacked out. Cause like he said, I'm not even thinking about me right now. I'm thinking about my child. And you were kind of stupid to bring your child out in the middle of the night in the rain for to meet people that neither one of you know. Got to do better. The missing lighthouse keepers.
There was once an isolated island off the coast of Scotland where 3 lighthouse keepers lived and were responsible for keeping the building intact. One day, when their monthly supply ship dropped in, the island was silent. No response from the lighthouse keepers. Eventually, the captain and some crew members went to investigate and found a disturbingly empty lighthouse. 2 of the 3 waterproof coats were missing from their hangars, and the kitchen was left in a state as if people had left in a hurry. The lighthouse log only added more mystery to the situation. The log described how one of the keepers wouldn't talk, and the other continuously cried for hours. All this pain and fear seemed to be coming from what was referred to as a powerful storm looming in the distance. However, this begs the question, why were they so scared of a simple storm? They should have been safe in the brand new lighthouse, right? The log goes on to talk about how they all sat close together and prayed for the storm to be over. The final log states, "The storm has passed, the skies are calm, and God is over all." Their bodies were never found, and the cause of their death is still a mystery to this day. The most accepted theory is that they somehow got swept out to sea during the storm, never to be seen again. But one final detail remains, one that scared the captain and his crew to the bone. The powerful storm described in the log didn't exist. There were no storms reported in the area. In fact, the skies were calm all day.
That's it?
It was 2 years ago.
The fuck?
I was called in to do the night shift, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. at 7-Eleven, since somebody called out. The store was located on a busy road in a rather quiet and rural area. During the night shift, you could expect anywhere from 10 to 20 people come in to buy a beer or something else. This one particular night, there was this one guy, mid-20s, that came in.
Oh, hell.
He started making weird noises, like loud yelling noises. I assumed he had some kind of mental disability. In fact, my brother has a mental disability, so I immediately felt sympathy for the guy. He walked up to the counter without any items, with his head facing me, but his eyes were looking up at the ceiling. I felt uncomfortable. I honestly didn't know how to deal with it. I tried speaking with him, but he only responded in loud noises. I kept checking if he was with someone outside, but he was alone. There weren't any cars in the parking lot, so I assumed he walked. He stood there for so long, looking up at the ceiling.
Bitch, no. No, not with this man sitting up here looking like an extra out The Walking Dead. Well, see, the people at gas stations, they be the only person there. Like, they be working by themselves. That shit is, I need at least one other coworker here with me in case some fuckery like this happens. It's middle of the night. I'm by myself. So this crazy man walked in with nothing. I don't know what his plans are or his intention. I'm not about to deal with this.
And making noises that I tried to get him out by handing him a bag of chips and telling him he can go. I tried finding some kind of number to call for someone to help him. Then, out of nowhere, he finally turned around and walked out of the store. I felt so horrible for the man, but at the same time, I felt a bit creeped out. About an hour later, the phone on the counter rang. I picked up to hear the familiar yelling sounds of the man from earlier. It caught me off guard. I didn't know what to think, other than this has to be some kind of prank. I hung up on them and was now becoming paranoid of my surroundings, constantly checking the outside through the windows. Come for
Oh, bitch, no. No. I would have had to call one of my good Judies like, hey, can you come up to the station with me real quick because they playing. They playing. Could you just come up in here and chill with me for the rest of my shift because look, I know what time it is, bitch. I need you to come and be a real bitch for me right now because The Walking Dead just came up in here and now I'm hearing screams and Tourette's stuff going on my phone. It's just too much for me. Can you just come up in here and be with me right now? That's how you know you have a real friend. But then again, if somebody called me with that and I'm like, wait, you have a what now? Walking Dead coming up. You want me to come up in there? Does that sound like something that I would do? Does this sound like something I would get out of my good bed and come up there and deal with the potential of the Walking Dead to come be with you? I love you, girl, but click. I ain't shit. Don't y'all pay me no mind.
4 o'clock, the person working after me came in, finally allowing for me to go home. It wasn't my problem anymore. I got home and threw all my stuff on the table, ready to get to sleep.
He gonna show up at the house. He's on the phone. He gonna be hearing the same shit, and he gonna show up at his house. I bet you. Watch me. I've seen enough of these shits to know how they work.
But my phone rang within a minute after entering the door. I felt a chill run down my spine. Why would someone be calling at 4 a.m.? I could only imagine it was bad news. I braced myself and picked up the phone to hear the man again. I felt sick to my stomach as I listened to the loud noises he made. I struggled to slam the phone to the receiver. All night I felt like I was being watched, even with all the blinds shut. And I could swear I heard strange noises coming from all over my house. I refused to get any sleep until the sun came up. Weeks passed and I had forgotten about the incident, until one day, when going into the basement for the first time in a while, I found that papers had been scattered all over the floor, and when I went into the basement closet, I found writing on the walls. 7-Eleven had been written in Sharpie on the wall, along with the address to the 7-Eleven I worked at and my house address. The most disturbing part, I also found various kitchen knives along with a large pocket knife sitting in the closet. What started out as seemingly just an innocent person turning into something of a prank ultimately turned into something much more horrifying. He had been living down there for God knows how long, and I'm just grateful that for whatever reason he changed his mind and left, because I haven't seen or heard from him since. All I can say is that man is dangerously ill.
What the fuck? No, no. The smiling man already Sounds like some bullshit. I can't do the crazy looking smiles and creep.
About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major
This will be the last one for this video, by the way.
city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommates that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I went down a short side street in order to loop back down my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride.
What the
I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still until I could.
Why didn't you cross the street? Cause I don't trust nobody like that at night. I'm crossing the street. I'm not about to. No, I mean, bravo from your talent, but I'm not. No.
Make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild.
Hell to the no, no, no. Do y'all see this bullshit? Look at that. Look at that. See, I knew this was gonna be some bullshit. When somebody that's smiling in a horror film, that shit is creepy as fuck.
Head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced.
Oh, now you decide to cross the street. I think I would have just turned in a complete opposite direction, or just started walking backwards, because I'm not about to turn my back to you, because I don't trust you. So I'm just gonna back away slowly. I'm just gonna bag it back. Shit.
Any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments I felt relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked and I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone.
Oh no.
Except he was moving very, very quickly.
Bitch! Fuck! This nigga sitting here creeping like the damn. No! No! And you were just standing there. I. Okay, well, the fact that he looked like that, he doesn't really look that strong. I probably would have had to kick his ass. I'm not, cause you sit up here looking like you possessed, and I ain't got the time nor the patience to deal with it.
I'd like to say at this point that I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen, as the smiling man crept toward me.
Dumbass, I would have pulled out every. You now, what would y'all do if somebody skinny like that started creeping to you like this and shit? What would you do? Would you stand there and stare like this motherfucker here? I think not.
And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, "What the fuck do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What the fuck? Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go, until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him got bigger and bigger. He was coming
Oh my fucking god, he's running towards me. Oh shit, that's scary.
back my way. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran
Bitch!
until I was off the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of my way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see.
You know what? We're just gonna end it there. Again, that is another phobia of mine, is like creepy smiles and somebody that I'm terrified of running at me or just running after me. That's why I can't play. There's that game called The Joy of Creation. It's like a Five Nights at Freddy's, which I'm gonna get back to that. I am. I just had to take a break because Freddy spooked me. But just some being in a dark place, helpless, with no means of protection against anything, and something that is terrifying is running at me in full speed. I can't do it. I cannot deal with it. I cannot do it. So, and the thing is, I like to walk, and walking around at night is kind of soothing, but the only reason I feel comfortable doing it here is because this complex is very well lit and not very big. But now, I may have to second guess that. But thank y'all again for watching this continued series. We're almost through. I think we're about 20 minutes, so I may have like one more episode out of this one, out of this compilation, and then we'll have to find out what we want to react to next. All right, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.